On Twitter at IdeasLucy. Please help me welcome to the stage Lucy Samuel. Oh
my God, there are so many of you. I hate meeting new people. Like, I hate it. Mingling is like my worst nightmare, actually. Like, if you invite me to a networking event, what that tells me is that you're not my friend and you never were. You can delete me from your phone. That being said, and this is good news for you guys, I love meeting new feminists. Like, that for me is that is such a rush, and I'm sure a lot of you can agree with that. Like, finding out that, you know, you hate all the same people, that's exciting. It's kind of like the ultimate in female bonding, like the way that some girls, you know, will go to the bathroom in groups, right? With feminists, you're like, do you want to, like, go get abortions together? Like, maybe tear down the patriarchy later? I don't know. It'd be fun. I don't want to brag, but I did have an abortion about 1.5 years ago. Yeah, that's right. Someone had sex with me one time. And it wasn't, I mean, for me, it wasn't fucking awesome. It kind of sucked, but it also wasn't the worst thing in the world. And I think that's why it's so important that we are having this conversation, is that the stigma around abortion is that it's supposed to be something that you mourn, and you're supposed to cry, and it's supposed to be this really dark time in your life. And it wasn't great. Like, I would say for me, it was probably, like, worse than your average dentist appointment, but not as bad as accidentally calling your teacher mom. Kind of, I would say it was like a 6. I've done that. So I had a medical abortion, which for the uninitiated, a medical abortion is an abortion via a series of pills. So they give you a bunch of pills and you take them in a certain order, kind of this magical formula, and they absorb into your system, and then your uterus kind of says to the embryo, like, you need to leave, like, you need to go. You weren't invited. So it's interesting because with a medical abortion, it takes a little bit longer. Oh, and I wanted to say also, kind of the highlight that I remember from getting my abortion, the doctors were so wonderful. They were wonderful. I went to the Planned Parenthood in Gaithersburg, and they were like, that really sticks out for me, is they were fantastic people. The woman, one of the doctors that I saw, asked me beforehand if I wanted to see the ultrasound, and I was feeling a little feisty, so I said yes. And she took the printout afterward, and she kind of pointed to it, and she said, I am seeing the pregnancy. And I looked at it, and I was like, bitch, have you ever seen a pregnancy? Because that's a picture of nothing. That looks like a picture of, like, a kitten at a great distance. Like a very foggy day. Like, I didn't know, whatever, just do it. So yeah, a medical abortion takes a little bit longer. With a surgical abortion, you go in and they do the abortion, you go home, you recover. With a medical abortion, you take the pills, you take some more when you go home at night. You proceed to kind of have the abortion over. It could be 24 hours, it could be more, it could be less, you don't really know. It's different for everyone. So what I like to say, my advice for anyone who finds themselves in the unfortunate position of needing a medical abortion is take a look at your calendar, or email your secretary if you got it like that, and clear your schedule. Because if you don't, you may find yourself where I found myself the morning after I took the murder pills, which was at a baby shower. Can't make this up. It was wild. It was, I mean, people were giving this woman gifts to, like, help her bring this baby into the world happy and healthy, and I was, like, literally laying waste to my potential child. So, congratulations, new mommy. So I just got drunk, it was fine. So that was a weird thing. I like to sometimes take a little bit of time to think about kind of the things that I would have given up had I carried the child to term. I currently have an 11-month-old, probably named like Robert Durst Samuel. It's just where I was at that time. But as far as, like, my life would have had to change, you know, as far as things I would have had to kind of give up, aside from the obvious, like, meth habit. I, for instance, love horror movies. I love horror movies. And you can't watch horror movies with a baby. Like, I understand that they're too young to see what's on the screen and understand it, but you can't, I mean, if you're holding a baby, and this is just a theory, if you're holding a baby and you're watching a horror movie, like, they can sense that, right? They're like bears in that regard, right? They can smell fear. I'm also, my boyfriend and I, we're in our mid-20s, which, we're in our mid-20s, which I think it's like in the dictionary next to functional alcoholics. So, like, I came home the other day and he had purchased $150 worth of booze just to have in the house. We weren't throwing a party, it was just stocking up. So yeah, we do terrible shit, like, on a regular basis. It's not an environment. We also live in a tiny apartment. It's just not the right place. One thing that, and babies are really hard too. Like, a lot of people here know that babies have like 3 settings, right? There's like silently staring at everything. There's asleep, and there's crying. And crying has like 800 possible translations. Like, babies, you need to be more specific, honestly. And, you know, you can't just like turn it off and turn it back on. I've tried that. It doesn't work. If you lose your password, there's no like tech support. You can't just like type in a CAPTCHA. That doesn't work either. And there's like a million in-app purchases, and they're all mandatory. My personal favorite thing that anti-choice folks like to say, and there are so many, and I have them all ranked. My favorite one is, what if your aborted baby could have been the one to cure cancer? To which I say, that's preposterous. Babies can't be doctors. But also, like, think about the pressure that puts on my future child. Like, I do plan on having children someday, many of them hopefully. But at this point, like, if one of my kids isn't a fucking world famous biochemist, like, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. I'll be like, why can't you be more like my abortion? Other favorite, if they're on the list, is when people decry abortion in the name of religion. Those same people turn around and do the most ratchet shit. Like, what? And they justify it because they did that voluntarily, and somehow they have to justify it to themselves. I have a friend who, a dear, dear personal friend who I've known my entire life, a friend of the family, who told me that she could never have an abortion because it's against her religion. Same friend, actively, currently sleeping with a married man. Same person. I haven't read the Bible. It's super long. Honestly, I would rather have my next pap smear from Joel's dad than read the Bible. But I'm pretty sure that's in there. Like, I'm pretty sure that's like kind of one of the main ones, right? No, so my lady parts have really put me through it in my life. Like, in the time that I've been sexually active, I've had countless UTIs. I've had, and I know you understand, I've had countless UTIs. I've had HPV, I've had BV, I've had, I got pregnant after taking the morning after pill. I am allergic to semen. I've had 2 different IUDs. I'm just laying it all out there for you. Today, a few hours ago, I can't make this up, a couple of hours ago, I had an ultrasound. Ladies, it was the fun kind. You know what I mean? And I discovered 2 things. First, I do have a small cyst on my right ovary. That was expected, not a big, huge deal. Second thing I discovered is the woman who did the ultrasound walked out of the room while I was going to change, and she left the readout up on the screen with all the numbers from my ultrasound. I'm not sure if she was supposed to do that, but she did. And I was putting on my clothes and I looked over and I saw the screen, and what I learned today is that I have a 7.03 centimeter uterus. So, gentlemen, that's what I'm working with here. 7 centimeters of pure woman. Start your engines. And that's all I've got for you today. Please go see Sharon at the Pure Romance table. She sold me my vibrator. She's incredible.